of any injuries, but the road is closed and local diversions are in place. The head of the FAI will meet with union officials next week ahead of upcoming redundancies at the association. The footballing body announced it was to begin a transformation programme in terms of its workforce, but didn't clarify how many jobs would be lost. A voluntary redundancy scheme opened last week. That'll be followed by a compulsory one. SIP2 says its members are dismayed at their treatment in recent days and hit out at disparaging remarks made by the FAI in a recent press release. And Robert Redford is being remembered as an icon and a genius after his death at the age of 89. The Hollywood actor and Oscar award-winning director died at his home in Utah in the US, surrounded by loved ones. Entertainment journalist Brian Lloyd told The Hard Shoulder here on News Talk he was a Hollywood legend.
Because he was able to do big kind of crowd-pleasing movies like, say, Sneakers or Out of Africa, but then he could go off and do these like really sharp, biting films like, The Candidate, for example, which is this brilliant political satire about this presidential candidate in the US in the 70s.
And that's your news for now.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Swap school bags for travel bags with Ryanair's low-fare flights to Faro, Madrid or Rome.
Windy tonight, widespread outbreaks of rain with possible thunderstorms in parts. The rain will mostly clear by morning. Southeasterly winds will increase to fresh and gusty overnight, and lowest temperatures of 10 to 15 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With UPMC Orthopaedic Care. When things don't move, rotate or bend like they used to, choose us to help you get back in action.
This is News Talk.
Good evening and welcome along to Tuesday Nights Off the Ball. It's Owen here with you until 10 o'clock this evening. Coming up tonight, we're going to be speaking to Cork boxer Callum Walsh from 7:30. He's after beating Fernando Vargas Jr. to maintain his unbeaten start to his professional career. Their fight was at the Allegiant Stadium ahead of the Crawford-Canelo fight on Saturday night. So in front of 70,000 people, he got the business done. We'll speak to him from his Los Angeles home. Although he is moving home at the moment, he's moving to a bigger farmhouse, we understand. So we're going to get his update on how his goats are getting on. This was the last conversation we had with Callum Walsh. I believe he's investing in a couple of cattle as well. So all to be revealed from 7:30. After 8 o'clock, something a touch more serious. Dave Zirin is going to join us in studio. The NFL is in town next week. Dave is over here, I guess, talking about his documentary, which came out in 2022. A lot of the messages ring true. A lot of water has come under the bridge in the last 3 years as well. Dave Zirin has basically questioned the NFL's ethics and how it is so and completely and utterly entwined with the United States of America as a sporting organisation, and why maybe we need to have questions about next week. We'll also ask him about Palestine and his own role as a Jewish writer in the United States and how things have impacted on him over the last couple of years. Richie Towell then, after 9 o'clock, is going to join us in studio because the Champions League is back. 58 minutes old, in fact. It's Athletic Club 0, Arsenal 0 in one of the early games. Our number is 0879 180 180 if you want to get in touch on WhatsApp. Cameron Hill will have your news round very shortly. How are you, Cameron?
Howdy.
And Michael McCarthy. How are things?
I'm great.
Are we delighted that this is back on our screens, this sort of passive football watching thing that we do at 5:45 of a Tuesday, Wednesday evening?
I'm less interested than I was last year, I have to be honest, from a completely selfish point of view.
You're a big League Cup fan.
I'm mad into the League Cup now, and the Europa League is where it's at. No, I suppose, you are kind of feeling of like, a load of endless kind of like semi-interesting football games with very little consequence. Like Man City and Napoli, Devin De Bruyne has gone back to Manchester, tomorrow. I know that's great, but at the same time, it's just above pre-season friendly level.
Do you think so? Like, it does feel that there is a negative tone out there towards the expanded Champions League, and I understand why. But I'm kind of liking the sort of styles making fights argument for it, like Athletic Club versus Arsenal here. I'm not sure how far Athletic Club are going to go into this year's competition, but it's at San Mamés. There's an amazing atmosphere there this evening. Yeah. It's not overly high stakes, obviously, but I'm not sure it necessarily needs to for me to get some sort of enjoyment about these two clubs colliding. Like the same, definitely for Liverpool versus Atletico Madrid tomorrow night, Napoli versus Manchester City. Like there's storylines there, even if the storyline isn't will Manchester City survive to the knockout stages?
I do agree. I just wonder, is it a bit too much? Like, especially this year with a Premier League bias that we inevitably have in this country of having 6 English teams in there. It's kind of exhausting to try and almost stay on top of it. Like, it is almost just far too much football. I don't have a mad issue with the format itself. It's as good as any other ones. Ultimately, it doesn't matter until January anyway, and we get another round of knockout games in this format than we did before. I think we romanticised the 40 groups of 4 of what it was rather than what it had become. And what it had become was formulaic and boring, unless like Manchester United are going through a crisis and getting knocked out to Copenhagen. Very little, that sort of thing wasn't happening very often, and we kind of were just failing through the early stages of Champions League. So I don't mind the new system really. I just think it's too much football. But I don't know.
It's the too much football for the players is the real point. For me, if I'm being fed too much football, I can always, stop consuming the amount of football that's put in front of me. It is obscene though. 6 Premier League clubs in it, and then half the division in European football, full stop. So there is going to be a serious level of interest, and then you throw in Celtic Rangers, Rovers Shells into the Conference League as well. So pretty much every game from a Premier League, Scottish Premiership, or from a League of Ireland standpoint, it's going to be the most interested we are in a European season. I think with the Champions League as well, you always get a little bit of a kick out of the newer teams like Paphos and Kairat Almaty. You'd get like a little buzz out of watching them for the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Like Brest last year.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. If they start having some results, I'm probably not going to really see much of them until, again, there's so many games, you're not going to be focusing on your I've already forgotten the 2 teams that you've said there also. I have to say
Paphos
my interest was not piqued.
You mean to say that at Thursday at 8 o'clock you'll not be watching Sporting versus Kairat in Europe's Premier competition?
I mean to say that, yeah. Liverpool versus Atletico this week, right? What immediately comes to mind?
COVID.
Yeah, COVID.
Yeah.
Like, it's a horrible fixture. That fixture's ruined forever. It used to be the Fernando Torres derby and lovely and all. Now it's like, the game that was played a day too late.
Yeah.
And really, really should not have happened.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? The Cheltenham week, Cheltenham and Atletico Madrid dumping
And the
Liverpool out of
Stereophonics.
the Stereophonics. Where was that on? Cardiff.
In somewhere in Wales, all right. Yeah, must have been Cardiff. Yeah, that was a defiant performance.
Yeah, well, maybe if Alexander Isak starts tomorrow night and bangs in a few goals, it might change the face of how you remember that fixture. The other thing we wanted to just touch on at the top here, and we'll talk about it with Dave Zirin later on as well, is Robert Redford passing away a little bit earlier on. Now, we recorded the Dave Zirin chat earlier, so he makes the point that when it comes to the great sports films, and The Natural is one of his top 3 films, he's not including boxing in sports films at all. He just thinks that boxing is too easy to do in cinema, therefore you have to have a separate list for sports movies and a separate list for boxing movies, which is logic that I actually quite like, but it also means that you can finagle
It's logic that doesn't make a lick of sense.
The Natural into your top 3 sports movies.
Yeah, it's like, is boxing on a category of its own because it's better, and therefore the other sports movies don't count, except for like they're just a championship level.
Yeah, like, I mean, what's
like? Is it that like there's already too many boxing franchise movies that it's kind of stretched out into the Rocky and Creed stuff, that it's like almost in its separate subgenre?
No, I wouldn't say so, because I
you
would
could apply
say
that
he
to
probably
loads.
has Raging Bull, and I thought there are so many great boxing movies. Like, I really like Cinderella Man. I don't know if other people do. The Champ. That's
The
a
Champ is
tearjerker. Try to get through The
devastating.
Champ without crying. I'll tell you one thing. That was a TCM regular back in the day. It's
Oh.
at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just home from school, bawling, crying.
Come on, get out, champ. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, that's a really tough one. Are the Air Bud movies? Do you not count them?
No, there you go. Crying at them too.
Yeah, that's it. That you're getting me really emotional here. Generally speaking, boxing aside, the best sports movies are the ones where no sport actually happens. So you're talking about Moneyball or Uncut Gems, which is a loose association to sport. Things where the drama is in the boardroom, away from the field of play. But for a field sport, The Natural does it pretty well.
It's brilliant. And Redford is just, it's funny, we were talking about this beforehand, and it's probably a while since we've both seen it. I'm not sure if you've seen it,
I haven't
Cameron,
seen it
have you?
before, no.
So it's like me and Owen have both seen it, and it just brings back fond memories for me, but I can't remember all that much about it. I know that it was one of those films that kind of like starts pretty quickly, in the way that films in the 70s tended to do. You know, it wasn't a huge amount of kind of like beautiful sort of early plot line. You're sort of just into it, and it's made in a kind of a rough and ready sort of way, but it's a straightforward enough story, I would say. But Redford just holds you for the whole movie. Like, he is just he was such a movie star. You know, he's like 47 in this film as well, playing like albeit an aging at the end baseball player. I think he's like 16 at the start of the movie. You know, so I don't know. They didn't have great special effects back then. They didn't have the Irishman style, youth making machines that they do now. But
it's supposed to be 19, I believe.
But all of that stuff doesn't matter when it comes to Redford. You know what I mean? He just holds you.
And increasingly less so, because I think we've all come to the realisation that people 40 years ago just looked insanely old, full stop. So I'm kind of like, that's supposed to be a 19-year-old man and it looks like a 50-year-old man. Maybe that's just the way things were in the 1970s. The natural cast: Robert Redford, Robert Duvall, Glenn Close, Kim Basinger. What an all-star lineup that was. I mean, it is.
Wilford Brimley. Oh my goodness.
I mean, who could forget?
Who's in his late 40s, I think, as well, playing the game.
16-year-old Wilford Brimley with his big handlebar moustache.
Pop Fisher, a legendary character of the sports film genre. But Dave Zirin actually would have met Redford, I believe. So he'll speak about that, and also about the fact that he set up Sundance Film Festival, and just as somebody who's made his own documentaries, he's just got a real interest in sort of the philanthropic aspect that went into setting up Sundance from Redford's capacity. Apparently a big environmentalist as well. So we'll get more on that after 8 o'clock. Our number, as I say, is 087 9 180 180 if you want to get in touch on WhatsApp. Cameron Hill, as I say, delivering the news round this evening. Where do you want to start?
We'll start before we get to the Champions League with rugby, Owen, because some worrying news from an Ireland and Leinster perspective. The Leinster head coach Leo Cullen saying today that Hugo Keenan could be out of action until at least the new year. The fullback underwent hip surgery following this summer's British and Irish Lions tour of Australia. So that means he's likely to miss the big November tests against New Zealand, Australia and South Africa. Joe McCarthy also set for a spell on the sidelines. He picked up a foot injury during the first test against the Wallabies and won't be back until November at the earliest.
Was it worth it? Getting the 2-1 series win? Cannoning Ireland's November hopes.
That's life, I suppose. It is interesting. I wonder, are Ireland in a state now? I don't think like Hugo Keenan or Joe McCarthy are better off by any means, but you almost think that, especially for Novembers, and I'm not one for throwing away test matches or Six Nations or anything like that, but just building towards World Cup anyway, it's almost you want to see what players are made of, see the whites of their eyes in red hot action. You're playing New Zealand or you're playing Six Nations, and it's Osborne or whoever at full back, just to kind of get a sense of whether they're going to be ready or not, like when we need them.
Yeah.
I think it might be no harm.
Yeah, no, you're dead right. What are we, 2 years? Yeah, 2 years.
2 years out.
The statute of limitations is officially up come this November test, I would say. We're into...
Post-Lions, isn't it? We're allowed to talk about...
Post-Lions, is it?
Yeah.
So
they're the midterm elections.
How many days? What is it, 750 days or so away from the next World Cup? We should get like a little yellow countdown timer.
We're going to Australia,
Yeah, we literally. Ireland is factually going to Australia. So
me and you.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's set it up.
It's a shame for Hugo Keenan that he kind of recaptured a bit of form, having not had the easiest of seasons last year and was struggling during the Six Nations. And for Leinster, that it looked like finally, the Lions has come at the perfect time for him, only to have this setback. So. Disappointing for him, you'd have to say.
He's also one of those players that seemed to be kind of like, made of Teflon and now has started to get the injuries and the niggly injuries. And hopefully it's just a coincidence that they've almost like caught up with him a little bit, and it's just bad luck more than anything. But, you don't want to be like, it just seems to be constant niggly and couple of month injuries, that are just holding him back a little bit when he had been on such a roll.
Well, hip is a really bad injury for a fullback to be getting at this stage of your career because of the sort of wear and tear that would come with being that extra attacking player and being in the back three. So hopefully he can get over it, but maybe it's one of those stitch in time surgeries that he's managed to save himself from like ongoing issues for the rest of his career.
A few texts in relation to sports films. One listener says, Hustle, Adam Sandler as an NBA agent is an underrated one. Fits the category of all the action happening away from the sport. A YouTube commenter says All in the Game, which is a 2006 movie starring...
I think the YouTube commenter is called All in the Game.
Oh, sorry. There is a 2006 movie called All in the Game starring Danny Dyer and Ray Winstone with a 6.2 IMDb rating. It looks absolutely atrocious.
The All in the Game
Danny
official
Dyer and
account
Ray
has gotten in
Winstone.
touch.
I would watch the two of them in anything.
All in the Game has been in touch to say the F1 movie Rush is an excellent sports movie, which is very, very true. All in the Game. And another texter says, watching the Arsenal game, why can't they break down a decent defence? Like I said, decent defence is decent for a reason. It's hard to break down. Not a whole pile of chances. Gyökeres probably should have scored in the first half with a header, good cross from Timber on the right-hand side. But other than that, there haven't been too many opportunities. In fact, Athletic Club have probably had the pick of the chances, even if Arsenal have had more possession. Cameron.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned there, Owen, the Champions League officially getting underway this evening. Europa League winners Tottenham will be hosting Villarreal from 8 o'clock in one of 6 games kicking off around that time. Manager Thomas Frank has adapted the team style for each opponent so far this season. And speaking ahead of tonight's game, he gave some interesting insights into how they tweak their approach game by game.
This league can bite you very, very quickly, so nobody's getting carried away with how we've started. We know we can improve a lot in what we're doing. The foundations are constantly being instilled into the players, what's important, what will get us results. And I think
that is Keith Andrews, not Thomas Frank. We can play Thomas Frank in a moment whenever we have it ready. I can just tell you that Arsenal have taken the lead in Bilbao. I'll tell you who scored that after we hear from Thomas Frank.
No, I think some of the things, the main thing is that we have some guiding principles in how we want to defend, for example. So I think it's relatively clear to everyone that we want to go man-man and high pressure. There's no secret. But that needed to be tweaked depending on the opponent. There could be a small adjustment there, the middle pressure and the low pressure, but we have guiding principles that hopefully helps the players. And then the same with the offensive side of the game, how we want to break through, how we want to build up. But of course, depending on the opponents they may be pressed in different ways, and then maybe we need to tweak a little bit if we build up at a 4-1 and a 4-2, whatever we call it. What kind of solutions do we find out to use, and then we try to get it across to the players with videos, with some walkthroughs, with some 11v11, with some different ways of doing it. But I'm a big believer that we can we get the right details across in the right amount, because I don't believe being out there 2 hours or have 1 hour meeting. So it's how can we do that balance to give them some good guidelines, and then they're top players. So we give them good guidelines, they need to take decisions on the pitch, and they're very good at that.
Thomas Frank there, speaking ahead of tonight's Champions League bout for Tottenham Hotspur. It is Gabriel Martinelli who has put Arsenal ahead after 72 minutes. He'd just come on for Eberechi Eze, and it's a brilliant goal, to be fair to him. A ball falls to Victor Gyökeres on the halfway line. Ball around the corner. Martinelli from his own half takes a few touches, goes through on goal and manages to bury it. I mean,
unusually, is that what you're trying to say?
Well, it's just, I just have flashbacks of the opportunity he had. It wasn't the same thing, but it was the same side of the goal. 1-on-1 with Donnarumma last year in the Champions League semi-final against Paris Saint-Germain, and Martinelli missed that opportunity. So I don't know, maybe there's a situation this season where he tightens up that part of his game, or I don't know. It's a hard thing to predict, because he's not going to be a starter in this team. When everybody's fit, he's going to get even fewer minutes. And if Odegaard was fit, if Saka was fit tonight, would he even be getting any minutes? Would it actually be Eze coming off the bench potentially? But if he shows that he can finish in one-on-one situations in a manner that he couldn't all the time last season, then he might push his way up the pecking order.
Yeah, because obviously I think the excitement and talent is there for Martinelli, and maybe saw too much of him in recent years. Maybe he needs to be that kind of impact player. It was a good goal, and I think to the texter's point about why can't Arsenal break down a good defence, I think they showed how they do it. Like, that was really quick play from back to front and caught Bilbao in a it was a turnover situation, caught them in the high line and just went for it. And as you said, lovely touch from Gyökeres to kind of put him through, and then a brilliant, especially second touch from Martinelli. So, I think it's another test pass for Arsenal. We'll see what happens in the rest of the game. But even in terms of that, you're playing against a strong defensive team. You hit them when there is some transition, you do it, and that's exactly what happened there.
Definitely, this is going to be one of their tougher fixtures, you'd have to say, in the Champions League group stages. Like, they have to play Atletico Madrid at home, and they have to play Bayern Munich at home. So actually going to the Basque country and coming away with 3 points would be a big result for them tonight. The news round is with UPMC Sports Surgery Clinic. When things don't move, rotate or bend like they used to, choose us to help you get back in action. Where do you want to go next, Cameron?
Well, we heard from Keith Andrews earlier there, Owen, and they're there in an all-Premier League clash that is Brentford and Aston Villa in the English League Cup tonight. Elsewhere, Crystal Palace play Millwall, and Grimsby Town, the vanquishers of Manchester United in the last round, make the trip to Sheffield Wednesday. While here at home, some good news for Drogheda United. They've secured the services of goalkeeper Luke Dennison for another 2 years. The American signing a contract extension that will run until the end of the 2027 season. He moved Boyne's side in July 2024 and helped the side claim last year's Men's FAI Cup and retain their Premier Division status.
Just to give you the team news for Tottenham Hotspur then tonight. It's Vicario in goal, a back four of Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Mickey van de Ven and Jed Spence. It's Bergval, Bentancur, Pap Sarr in midfield, and there's Kudus, Richarlison and Javi Simons up front. Shifty Lad on YouTube mentions Draft Day as his favourite sports movie. John in Limerick says, lads, Redford won a sports scholarship to the University of Colorado and was on their baseball team. He was kicked off for partying and drinking too much.
Good man, Rob.
Animal House.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. That's the inspiration for The Natural, I believe, his own experience at the University of Colorado. What do you have next, Cameron?
We'll continue with the rugby, Owen, because France flanker Axel Bartomeu has lost her appeal against a 12-match ban for biting Ireland's Aoife wafer in that World Cup quarter-final on Sunday. The player was cited after footage showed her biting wafer's forearm early in the second half of that game at Sandy Park. It was not reviewed, the incident, by the officials during the game. Now, after learning the outcome of the hearing yesterday, Bartomeu issued an apology on Instagram describing the bite as unacceptable, saying it has no place on a rugby field. France also had an appeal against the 2-match ban handed to co-captain Mani Faleo rejected. She was cited for a dangerous tackle during the game, so that means both players will miss the remainder of the World Cup campaign. They take on hosts England in the semi-final at Ashton Gate on Saturday.
Because it wasn't an uphill battle facing England anyway.
Yeah, and they've also lost their starting 10, I think, as well to concussion. So
yeah, 12 matches sounds incredible and is incredible. Like, that's, how long is that? Is that international only?
No, I think it extends into club too.
It could be like a 2-year ban or something like that in international.
We won't see her till the next World Cup.
But it's like, it's absolutely right as well. You know, you have, like, that needs to be borderline draconian. You know, to make sure that people aren't going around biting other people. It's amazing.
It was 8 weeks for Dylan Hartley when he bit Stephen Ferris that time. So they've upped their game in terms of stamping down on this thing.
Well, originally 18, and then they let mitigation kind of come in to make it a 12-match ban. So it could have gotten even worse. But yeah, as you say, just desserts, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a crazy moment. Lynn Cantwell, great news for her.
She's going to be inducted into World Rugby's Hall of Fame. Ireland's most capped female player, won a Grand Slam and a Six Nations title during her playing career in green. She's currently spearheading the resurgence of the South African women's team.
On to athletics then, Cameron.
Another busy day for the Irish athletes on day 4 of the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. Cian McPhillips won his heat in the men's 800 metres to secure his spot in the semi-finals. Mark English also progressing after finishing third in his heat. They'll be back on the track on Thursday. Sarah Healy's campaign in the women's 1500 metres ended with a 10th place finish in today's final, while Charlene Maudsley missed out on a place in the 400 metres medals race, coming 8th in her semi-final.
You're finishing up in a snooker then.
Mark Allen safely through to the 4th round of the English Open today. He got past Scott Donaldson, winning by 4 frames to 1 in Brentwood earlier, while Cork's Aaron Hill is due on the table this evening against Stephen Maguire from 9 o'clock, while Ronnie O'Sullivan has withdrawn from next week's British Open due to medical reasons.
80 minutes gone at the San Mamés Stadium. It is still Athletic Club 0, Arsenal 1. Elsewhere in the Champions League tonight, it is PSV Eindhoven 0, Union Saint-Gilloise 3. Kevin McAllister with the third goal there.
From Home Alone?
Yes, exactly the guy.
Wow.
Exactly the guy. So he scored there after 81 minutes to 3 up. I know, you would have thought so, but he's a bit of experience in the Union Saint-Gilloise.
Good manner at the dressing room. Yeah.
That's exactly what they needed. So
he goes missing in games, I hear.
Good to make it as a professional footballer after having, like, you know, been brought up with the worst parents in history.
Oh, yeah, they should be in jail.
Who is Kevin playing for in the Premier League now? One of the Premier League teams signed a guy called Kevin. I was watching it on Match of the Day.
Everton.
It's Everton. And he had a shot that just went over the bar against Aston Villa. And then on Match of the Day, the commentator, as it sailed over the bar, was like, Kevin! And all I can hear is just the woman on the plane in Home Alone. So I just hope that's what they do with every shot that Kevin has. Because it's just one of those Brazilian Kevins, as in there's no McAllister to it. It's just Kevin.
Okay.
So
there you go.
A mate of mine used to shout that before we'd go out on nights out in college. The minute before we go out the door, he'd just shout Kevin. No one ever laughed. And then we asked him what that was about, and he said it was a Home Alone.
Okay,
thing.
right.
But
and was there a Kevin in the group?
no,
Right. I mean,
don't know where he got that from.
Yeah,
but there we are.
He had his fun, and that's all that matters.
Jadon Sancho's making his debut for Aston Villa tonight.
Is he making his debut tonight?
Yeah, he starts, as does Harvey Elliott, and the Irish lads are on the bench for Brentford, who are putting out a kind of a semi-second team. So, as are Villa, really, but we'll see. If they don't score a goal tonight, it'll be another day without a haircut for me.
That's it. If you haven't caught up on this story, Mick has decided that he's not going to cut his hair.
Nathan decided for me.
Yeah, until Aston Villa score a goal. So you'd hope it's imminent.
I'm only at the starting point of even being due a haircut, so this could only get bad if this really gets historic.
Yeah, come on, Caoimhín Kelleher.
What's the guy,
No, not
the
Caoimhín
United fan who's not cutting his hair?
Yeah.
So who's going to lose? Who's going to cop first?
I would.
Hakon Valdemirson is in goal for Brentford today.
There you go.
Go.
So is that not actually Caoimhín? Mick, you are going to win this, no problem. So you'd expect.
You would hope so. They only have to score a goal.
You'd expect Aston Villa to score tonight.
Not sure they'll win 5 in a row this season, though.
Right, Callum Walsh is going to be speaking to us after the break about his latest win in his undefeated professional career. We'll be back after the break, and before that, the cash machine.
News Talk's Cash Machine.
Now, after another winner last week, the cash machine has been reloaded and there will be over €250,000 won this Friday. The number you need to know is €258,000 exactly. And there are 2 ways you can enter. You can visit newstalk.com/cash machine, where you can enter online, or you can text PLAY, PLAY, to 57557. That's 57557. You have to get your entry in by 3 p.m. on Friday, and then across the Go Loud network of stations, someone will get that call. If your phone rings, you have to answer it within 5 rings. Give us the exact amount in euro and cent, and you will win the cash. So remember that amount one more time. €258,000 exactly. Over 18s only. Text costs €2.50 plus your standard message rate to play. You're playing across the Go Loud network of stations, and terms and conditions are on newstalk.com.
The News Round on Off the Ball.
With UPMC Sports Surgery Clinic. When things don't move, rotate or bend like they used to, choose us to help you get back in action.
This is News Talk.
As Charlie opened his Amazon parcel, he held his breath. This robot vacuum kept his floors pristine for a price lower than he'd ever imagined. 5 stars from Charlie. From robot vacuums to kitchen appliances and more. Find highly rated products at prices you'll love on Amazon.ie today.
There's been a big step in the car leasing business in Ireland since LeasePlan became Avens, a global leader in leasing and mobility. Take your leasing a step ahead with Avens as your trusted partner, and let's get moving together. Big business, medium business, or small business, whatever your vehicle leasing needs, visit avens.com. Avens, better with every move.
ESB Networks has now installed over 2 million smart meters in homes, farms and businesses across Ireland. With a smart meter, you're in control. Track your daily, weekly and monthly usage so you can choose the right electricity plan for your home. Sign up to a free ESB Networks online account today and see how your smart meter can work for you. ESB Networks. Energizing your everything.
AI will revolutionize our lives. This technology has already leapt ahead of our understanding of its ethical, legal, and political significance, and lawmakers are playing catch-up. Join me, William Ratoff, Assistant Professor of Philosophy at Trinity College Dublin, in this online discussion-based course as we debate questions such as: do tech companies violate our right to privacy? Should there be free speech on internet platforms? And could future AI be sentient?
Starting October 6th, search for AI and Ethics TCD. Picture yourself immersed in